So today we're out digging dahlias. It's the beginning of December. We've been digging for about 5 or 6 weeks now, and I wanted to take a quick opportunity to show you the difference between what cutting looks like in the fall when we dig it up as opposed to a clump when we dig it up in the fall. So let me get my shovel and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so in the spring we tend to plant clumps of tubers. Often when you buy tubers from a supplier, you'll get them in single tubers, which is a lovely way to get new varieties. We prefer to dig clumps. It just gives us a little bit of a better opportunity to have good production throughout the summer. So I'm going to dig out a clump and show you what that looks like at the end of the season. This is a variety called Rock Run Ashley, which is a really lovely kind of, I don't know, beigey toned pink color. So you can see during the season it had 3 good stems on it, and when I dig it up, that's what it's going to look like. We're going to be able to get into this and divide it into multiple clumps to replant in the spring. Since I have this out, I'm going to show you kind of what I mean by popping them apart into clumps. So you can see that there are the stems from last year. And I'm going to kind of loosen up the soil underneath. Our soil is pretty clayey, and obviously everybody has different kinds of soil. So ours is nice and sticky. It gets into those little crevices nicely. We prefer to not wash the tubers. For storing purposes, we find that they do a better job of storing for us if they don't have all that extra moisture, and we just really don't have a facility that would afford us the opportunity to get them nicely dried. So we don't wash them with water. We just kind of shake off as much of the soil as we can, and then we store them with whatever soil remains on them, kind of like, you know, a potato. So I've broken that one down. You can see there's 2 stems from last year, and this one I believe is just gonna pop like that. And then that gives me 2 nice clumps that I can plant next spring. All right, so we've moved to the other end of the field into our nursery section. This section has varieties that I'm trying to increase our stock of without necessarily having enough to divide tubers. So this particular variety is called Rock Run Ashley. I bought a fairly small amount of stock retail a couple of years ago, and I've been increasing it by divisions and by cuttings over the last couple of years. So I just wanted to compare what we just dug up, which was also Rock Run Ashley, in a big clump that we planted as a clump in the spring, and what the cuttings look like at the end of the fall. So let's see what this looks like. Oh my goodness, look at all those roots. Okay, so keep in mind that what I did with my mother stock is I started my tubers inside the greenhouse early in the spring. So I would say like February, I started getting them heated up and growing. And then I started taking cuttings off of them. The process is not very challenging. It's not difficult. I will put up a video showing you exactly what process we use. And so then I would take cuttings off of these mother tubers and stick them and wait for them to root out, pot them up, and then these are the results. These plants got planted in, I would say, probably May, and that's going to be a nice enough tuber that we're going to be able to divide that out and get multiple plants out of it and be able to have even more of this beautiful dahlia next year. So there you go, a little bit of a comparison of what something looks like when we dig it out in the fall, as far as a clump or a cutting. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of variety that you can play with in your own dahlia garden, just knowing that you don't have to be limited by what somebody else does and what works for somebody else. There's all sorts of options, and hopefully this will give you some tools to enjoy your dahlias even more. Thanks for swinging by the farm. We'll see you next time.